Does everybody actually have an intervention that's in here? Part-time? Well, let's start off, we just have a video mainly for your viewing pleasure, but this is the story of my life sometimes. This is actually like a 5-year-old narrating a story.
Okay, here's your homework. First one, tell you directions. What form takeaway 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Takeaway. What's 6 takeaway 1? 1. No, you take away. So you take away 1 out of 6. How much do you lose? That's 5, 10 minus 1. I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Take away 1. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 1 more. Add 1 more.
Ew, it's
Equal.
creepy. This is awesome.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 equals, it makes 9. See how you take away? You take away 1 and it equals 1. Do you get it now? Yes.
That's awesome.
3. Yes. Good job.
So essentially, reflecting on intervention, I think when we all got our interventions in the beginning of the year, it kind of felt like that in the classroom. And we're trying to talk to these kids about college readiness standards. And they're just looking at us like, wait, what? And so there's like that disconnect. But through trial and error, we've worked together with our teams to actually get an outcome that was going to prepare our kids to be college ready and perform well on their exams. When we talk about driving instruction, there's 2 tools that we both use in our interventions, and that is iShine as well as GradeCam, and we're going to go into that and discuss more.
So everything tested on the ACT, or all of those tests, are based off of college readiness skills. So I have the math one pulled up. As you can see, there are so many skills, and I think all the subjects are similar. This is obviously the one I personally work with. So there's so many skills and different levels for those skills. And probably about half on any given test are tested for the test. So that is the point of iShine, is that it gives you the results of your actual student's test. So you can see very clearly which ones you're struggling with and which ones you're not. So this is how we have started picking the skills to work with, because clearly this group, they're in the yellow, so it's not the one that you want to focus on first. You want to focus on the one that we are scoring 10% correct. So those are the that's how I pick the skills that I'm going to work on any given week in intervention. You do the same thing?
Yeah, I do, definitely. And so like here, it would say like PPF 401. So in the beginning of the year, we weren't really clear. I mean, there was what is the word I'm looking for? We were clear on the expectations, but this was kind of an outside top. I don't want to say like foreign, but it just, the language to me, college readiness skills are across the board, but in the districts I worked with prior to this, it wasn't a subject that I had to teach, so I had to become familiarized with it. But when you look at this data here, iShine is a great tool to use because it gives you the percentages, and I believe it breaks it down to your scholars, by student. And it shows the exact standards in which they do well in and ones that they need to improve on. So what I've done is I've used this data, and a lot of our kids are grouped according to different levels. I believe all of them are, 9 through 12. And so when you take this data, I've started off with, okay, CLR 301, so to speak. That's the college readiness skill. And when my kids have successfully completed that, you look to the data and say, okay, I do that standard with all of the groups, but then the next level of questioning or the next college readiness skill that I focus on, I use this as a reference to gauge and drive my instruction.
Before I knew about this, and especially now I know about this, I would just pick like DOA, a whole entire category, and then go by similar standards. So 301 and 401, and I don't know if it's the same on everything, those are usually the same skill, just at a harder level. So I'll start off with 301 and kind of, especially since I start with the lower groups first, and work with them through that. And as soon as students finish those, at like kind of, it's a very fluid process, but as they finish, some of them will move up to 401, some will stay at 301 and work more on that. But I start out at a higher level for each week, essentially, because I move up through the different levels. So I assume, and based on the data, I assume that my higher levels can start at 401 instead of repeating 301. Because they have especially expressed to me they don't like wasting their time on stuff they already know. So this is a way I can see, well, none of you got this problem right, so it is something we need to work on, versus just picking random things for them to practice.
These scores here as well, if you go back to that chart you were with your college readiness skills, so if they're out of 15, the majority of the groups, because we usually group our kids where they're working together, and so if a lot of the kids started, achieving a grade of a 15, then you can start them at the next level. So it's not just the percentages that you look at, but you look at the raw score as well.
So one thing we both do is, I've kind of mixed with both pre and post data. So 10th grade, we only have them for a week. I know they have them for 2 weeks, so you could definitely do a pre and post then. I usually pick one or the other, just depending on the skill. I like doing pre data because I can see where they're starting off that week. A lot of times I'll give them the same test at the end, just so I can see a change. Because sometimes I would look at the post data, I'm like, that's cool, but I have no idea if they actually learned anything this week. Because maybe they started at knowing nothing and they're scoring 50 now, and that's great. Or they started at 70, now they're scoring 50. So I kind of like to have both, just to gauge what's going on. So one way, a really fast way, and a lot of you all have seen this, is GradeCam. Because it does an instant grading of Scantrons. And it's super fast, and it's super helpful for seeing, it's called item analysis, where you can look at each question and see what they've missed. So for instance, number 2, I can tell 76% already have that correct. It's excellent. But number 3, for some reason, they're all picking C over A. That's a super helpful thing, and I'm actually going to introduce this. My upper level group, I think, would actually be really interested. I could have them start discussions on why they're picking C over A, and that would actually help them analyze their notes.
My interventions, we've been doing our assessments on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
On Friday, we've been pulling the GradeCam up and going through it and figure out why did we do this, where were we?
Yeah.
And people have been moving forward saying, well, I thought this because,
Mhm.
and it's been helpful.
Yeah, it's an excellent.
Traded a day of additional instruction for a day of reflection and analysis.
Mhm. No, that's an excellent way to use that.
And just getting into the pre and post assessments, I focus on reading with my scholars. And so when I do the pre-assessment, it is going to be the same as the post, but they're able to see like, okay, I grew, 30% or 50% on the assessment. And I have what is it called? Like a manual that Ms. Washington has given us, and it has like all of the listed college readiness skills. And I found that that's been really effective in referencing in the classroom because my scholars are using data trackers. And so when they're able to identify, okay, this is this is how this question is worded, this is what they're asking for. Then in their groups, when they do their group discussions, they can identify exactly what it is, the college readiness skill and the information that they want them to answer when, being assessed.
I know one concern one student told me was, she's like, I thought we were supposed to be teaching skills to help us actually do better on the test, but I feel like all we have is busy work. Like, we're not actually learning skills, we're just doing stuff over and over again. So that's been something that motivated me to kind of think of what I'm actually teaching them. So I'm gonna start trying to focus more on actual skills that will help them succeed in learning those skills versus just, hey, well, let's add some numbers again, even though they desperately need that also. So it's gonna be a balance between like drilling them for stuff they should already know that they need to catch up on versus skills on how to use these to succeed.
Yeah, we should do that. So what we're gonna have you guys do is get into groups of like 3 or 4. And we wanna know what's working well in your interventions and what you feel like needs improvement. We'll probably give you guys about 5 minutes to discuss that, and then we'll come back together.
We're not gonna be everything we do aligned to the goal was so far away, now it's a lot closer in age. I think,
I
but I
do
feel like
similar stuff with, like, working out.
I'm running out.
I haven't gone through an entire test
That are
like
viable,
that. I usually take like
that are
2 that are like crazy.
What we do
That's
is
from that work.
I do writing,
That's my issue.
writing on that. It's just so
All in the first couple months, now it's like everybody knows the deal, they know the drill, and it's.
And then after they're done, that's what I introduce. So here's how we do it. Here's where, as a group, we it's kind of a discussion. Just they expect a little bit of, well, I think this kind of problem is hard. Those are easy.
That's something we're never talking about percentage. Yeah, either
And that usually
or
kills
like,
one.
which one of
Sarah, I need you.
Just get one cell and give them
Well, yeah, that's the thing, it sounds like.
orally targeted
Yeah.
instruction. That's
My
my
orally for this writing high quality,
narrow
Tawny's
target.
thinking
We
about
start to meet those particular
paragraph,
skills.
what
Here's what we're gonna do.
30%.
Almost a full reading.
Actually.
One of the ones that are going to
Those kinds of kids just, they try
They
to
think that
learn. But if I say, don't even worry about the answers.
I used to
Lose yourself.
what is first for putting on a scan. We scan those
Unfortunately,
and
it's
Friday
kind of
we
on
go
chopping
through.
You really focus
I go
on
through what's
just
funny.
what we're learning this week.
And then if there's any time left, I'll go
One
over
question,
on the
recognize
Why
it.
do you put that question? Okay.
Well, we'll tell you that the skill is available,
But that's,
you know, and then do we know how to do the
I
skill?
did that the first time last week,
All of a
the last
sudden
week
means-
before last.
Cool.
Kind of getting to that point.
They just don't recognize it.
Yeah, we do something similar.
Now, the data spread, every test in camp's good.
We
But
usually look at their
college business skills for writing.
the test they took in August and kind of like.
It's not like, oh, yeah, probably slow.
Yeah, about 2 more minutes.
This is the
It's the same with
other.
the reading,
That was
the
helpful,
science, the math,
especially the first couple
the
times I did that. It was like, oh wow.
writing, we're just so abstract.
One kid
And
can
it's
answer
right
all
now,
the
that altitude wearing glasses.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of pushback.
That's what I mean. I like
Nice if there's a trend.
No, yeah, the grade camp's great, because you can see, oh, 17, more got football games.
Time management, testing skills,
Yeah, because a
preparation.
lot of ACT is gonna be a trick.
Physical,
A lot of ACT questions are
tested during.
really
And
a trick.
I got really
Not
solid.
like, at least with math, we can
And
tell.
then I give them a directive.
I'm actually
back on.
not,
They're too big,
like,
get much more.
I saw
Immediately following skills because we wanted data.
30 range on the multiple choice.
Although I'm willing to it because I'm not putting that. Either I was not as authentic when I committed to
I was still-
years, I haven't gotten it.
Yeah, it's more like a
Because
I hate to create a project,
think
build
it's-
something.
I like it, and I think it's
Using
working,
this
especially if they
now
want to
for
contribute in the
birds or,
beginning.
you
I think
know,
part of it is like maybe I
even
know
with
we're
this
all
lab,
explaining
they
why
still like
it's
finish
so
it,
important
but
to
I
have
put
that
them,
knowledge.
they have to put it together.
I always have to make sure I do the problem before I
Because
give
it's
it.
hands-on, it doesn't feel like work.
Did I take the shortcut or did I not
I
take the shortcut?
Writing was the.
They don't, they don't because they're interacting with moving skills.
Yeah.
And like look at like.
that's getting harder and harder to do for reading.
Figure out a way to
So I
find
may
a
just
better
write
law.
The way you assess patients.
questions,
That's
long,
what I
hard,
would do.
and then I up against each other.
The one
They're
time
still
that's
different.
different.
Like, when I was taking it, I looked at it.
One more.
But I have to say something.
Your literacy is how you can learn that, how you can.
Which I know that we.
And that way I know from doing it on the correct.
And I'm realizing that my response should have been.
36 in here.
They don't have that literacy. If I was confident what it was accomplishing, I should have pushed through. If I wasn't, I shouldn't be doing it.
That is,
Yes.
that's different.
There-
I
The one big problem I have there is there's too many people who say that they just want to do this.
Oh, we don't.
And it's not the same stuff.
in class, and there are so many out there for math. I find
We
it
don't
so
touch high tables. I would teach quick, simple word problems. I teach the big heavy really well.
Some places have like,
And there are certain aspects that I just learned in school. I can
I
present
like
it
it.
in
Is that
slightly
realized,
different
because this
ways.
quarter,
Friday, Monday deal.
I have found some puzzles
You do have to have focus on.
I think that it is a higher not to
My
just.
biggest problem is, I also found that all skills are
used to be in school.
like
70 questions.
a set of standards for skills.
Tuesday,
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Skills, and I want to have time to practice that.
Here's the word.
Real
That's a
settings,
math
not
class.
just
I'm sorry.
You're not going to ask me any
But it's
Okay,
hard
you
to
guys
teach
have
that
4
gap,
minutes?
because like
I
you
would
said,
love
like,
to see
I know that we're just getting skills.
Everyone's getting engaged.
We just did this.
And they don't do that on the bubble first in front of them.
It's hard to make that passion.
Working.
So like sometimes I try like.
You're right. She like kids and all that.
Like everybody gets to talk about it, you don't have to like, so like,
And then for 10 minutes, they work on
because I don't want to, I don't want
And then 5 minutes, check over they go back to the
I think the thing I said, questions on it.
And I will do that.
I want your group to answer to this one question.
And put on
I want
color
you
paper.
see
Yeah.
what is the right answer?
Then pass it out to
You
you.
should be getting
Same thing.
That's
So,
7, 8, 9, 10. At that level. Okay, so.
You need to pay a little bit of
Yes.
most.
That would be, that would be.
So I would do everything.
Instructive sort of cutting.
You should have listened to him. You were on the right track. and you quit. I don't know how you got here. So obviously you need to spend more time on this.
3 5 questions. You need to make a handkerchief. First of all, I have to,
That might work.
I have to be able to read it. I have to be able to post it. It needs to be neat. So, and we may, here you get to this.
I want to talk to Mr.
That's, but that's what we're gonna do tomorrow. So I've got
Thank you.
You talked to me. I'll marker. You taking over.
She's gonna process.
You taking over advisory.
Let's see for that.
So that I could engage to
Stitch.
you could ELA.
Yeah, that's first.
Mentioned it, you kind of gave one of those. You still down for that?
So, let's come back together.
Oh.
So we want to hear from you guys, because we've talked a lot about intervention, and I've talked a lot with my team members, you know, my ninth grade level team, but I think it's great to have, that we're all in a room right now where we can actually discuss and share ideas, and that we're able to actually reflect on the first 2 quarters of intervention. So what did you guys discuss? What worked well? Like, what works well in your intervention, or what do you guys, what are your thoughts? Let's start on a positive note. Kim?
For me, what works well is I try to be totally different than what I am in class.
Okay.
because it just becomes kind of more of the same. I shy completely away from the worksheet. Even if I take the worksheet and blow it up, print it on colored paper and cut it up, they don't know it's the worksheet.
Right.
And I don't give them 10 problems, they may have one. I don't give multiple choice, they have to write out their responses. So that helps me double dip the comprehension and the writing grammar skills.
It ties into something that Kurt and I both talked about, which was, you gotta probably use the bubble forms at some point to capture data. But the between times, between the pre and post, you gotta get away from sitting and doing more PSAT sections or SAT sections, because there's a finite number of those you can do in your lifetime, and we don't wanna use them all now. So coming up with activities that emphasize those skills, that build those competencies that you were talking about, without it being another test in front of me, is really important.
I was gonna say, I do exactly what Matthewson does, but in reverse. My class is so, let's talk about the book, let's write about what you saw here, let's do a short answer, here's how you write an essay. Then I use my intervention for the things that I don't want to do in that huge classroom, because it'll kill them. So it's Monday, here's your 60 problems, you got 45 minutes. Tuesday, here are the answers, start looking at why you missed them. Wednesday, I want you to share those answers with other people, see if you can figure out why you missed them. Thursday, we talk as a group. Friday, we did an analysis, and because it's only 45 minutes, I feel like I need that cut and dry with them on that. And you said this on the test, I'm doing one a week, so I got plenty of tests, because we're stretching out what we're doing.
I mean how many they can take without their heads exploding.
One a week.
So let me put a disclaimer that I don't do worksheets in my class for 90 minutes.
Oh, I know that. I know that.
That's not what I meant.
No, but no, and I don't just dance around for 90 minutes either. But I would never have the opportunity to do something like this in my class. But since they know it's that intervention block, and they know they're about to go to lunch, I can really do. Hey, we can just do multiple choice problems all Monday. It's kind of neat.
So ideas on what we can improve.
I had a lot more success earlier in the year when I took more ownership, and when people gave me suggestions, I evaluated them. Now I feel like every suggestion is an instruction. So my practice has been all over the place as I've been getting different directives. I need to own this and tell some people no.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I love the idea. I think it's fantastic. I love how we rotate. I love being able to. I'm a little odd. Well, that's a given. But my role, if you will, is a little odd because I'm an interventionist for the 10th grade, but I teach the 9th grade. So for me, I like being able to step outside of my role because I do very much like Bruce. And I kind of do a little, and not to say that Matthewson does worksheety stuff, but that approach, that mentality, that tangible data, if you would, that's kind of the mentality I have in intervention, and that's a complete switch. And that's why the kids that have me, that's not the shtick that they see in 90 minutes, but we switch gears and kind of do it that way. But, it's really hard because I'm not an interventionist. I'll be the first one to, so I don't know exactly what 10th graders need as reading. You know, I mean, if we had a specialist that, coordinated or designed or created fabulous activities, that'd be great. I mean, I can supplement and I can help and I can assist, but I can't be the, But I'm the prof com guy and I'm helping out with intervention. You know what I mean? So it's that's the hard thing, is that,
Curtin?
Something that I wanted to work on, which kind of Peter touched on a little bit. I really like the college readiness skills for what they are. I think even more so than the chemistry teas. They're things that kids would actually need to succeed in college, or if they got a job as a research assistant or something. But I have a hard time trying to do real life skills that aren't test based, and then tied into when you see this question on a test, this is what it's asking about. We just did this. You know what I mean? It's when we talk about developing an experiment. And when we're kind of just having a conversation and they're doing it in class, but then if they take the same question, it's not like they're oh, I see what we were doing. And so sometimes it's hard to make that connection between real life, and then it gets on paper and it's kind of in those, and I think part of it's vocabulary, but I don't know, that's the thing that I'm kind of struggling with, is how to bridge that gap.
Bruce?
So say, I actually could disagree with Jordan here. I don't want a specialist telling me what to do in my intervention because they don't know my kids. They don't know my kid's specific data. I'm just gonna throw that out there. If you disagree, that's fine. We can have a fight afterwards. But hold on, here's my problem, and this is, I don't think we can fix this, I got it, but I gotta throw this out here. I was introduced to grade camp. Woohoo, love it, got to do it twice. And then it was testing week after this week, after that week, throwing off the schedule. Sometimes I had 2 interventions on a week, sometimes I had 3. It just became bizarre, and I hate CFAs. Done, that's it, that's all I'm gonna say.
I think what we can do to improve our practice with intervention is to actually plan. I think we've failed to plan, and so our plan is failing. I think that we need to take summer intensive to have a group to come in and get paid to create a curriculum for the CRSs for that content, so that when we come in and we say, okay, we're working on 301, that there are some activities or suggested activities to choose from,
Right.
so that it doesn't become what Dyer and I were talking about as being a very intensive additional prep
Right.
on the fly, which just becomes more cumbersome. But if we have something in place already for 301 or 602, then we have like a little toolbox to pull from to kind of help with that, to facilitate
I know
that
for
prep.
math, you can actually Google the skill, and I've found several teachers that have actually done that and come up with questions.
Yeah, that's
like
prepping, but what I'm saying is that someone has already done that and
Yeah.
created something that says, okay, if you're teaching 304 whatever, here are some suggestions. Here's this activity, this game, this whatever, this quiz, whatever. And we could
Share
just
folder
quickly,
with everything there.
yes, we could quickly pull
Tag
something
by
and use
skill.
it. Instead of, like, for me, I'm creating things from other things, which is an additional prep.
Matthew, I think maybe this is because I've only taught here, and you've seen the light of day. And because what that scares me, because what I know the uplift way would be is we'll get 3 people to get together for 2 weeks, come up with ideas, give us these ideas, and say, well, they're not really ideas, they're ultimatums. Now you get to design this curriculum.
Well, don't
And
do it
it's
the
actually
uplift
more
way, do
work
it the
for
peak
us.
way.
No, I think I'm saying kind of like we have with our, what do you call it, the lead teacher or whatever? CTLs. We have, this is available if you would like to use it. Not, here it is, you have to use it. If you're fine with prepping, great. But if you're not, this is available to you.
Here's your schematic, here are
Yeah.
4 or 5 suggestions, modify and tweak it as need be.
Yeah.
That's kind of, yeah.
That makes sense. I gotcha. So did you put stop the CFAs, I think?
Improve intervention.
Yeah.
No, pre-planning is what it's saying, to improve,
Yeah, but I
pre-planning.
don't mean you throw us off.
Can we put better teachers and better kids up there too? I mean, we're just gonna roll the dice big.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be also, what are we doing, what can we improve on? I think the consistent expectation, regardless of the grade level or the teacher, how should an intervention be run, period? I.e., I still see snack time, I still see free-for-all, I still see no accountability, I still see people out of their desks, and some people that know, and those of us that know like the 10th grade, some of our, I'm like, if I can get them focused and quiet, I should not have to battle with the other 3 interventions around me that are playing slap and tickle. That, excuse my language, pisses me off more than anything. And for some reason, I feel my perception, which is twisted and wrong anyway, my perception is the higher we go in the school, the more that is abused. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying that like, 9th is fantastic. No, that's not.
They get a little matter.
But I just feel like, I don't feel like there's a lot of quality, there's a lot of, interventions, basically study hall, we have, whatever teacher it is, we can just do whatever we want in there, and there's just not that consistent, that standard. Like, I love when I come here and I know, because my scholars say peace out to me, and they get mine from Matthewson, and I just have to give them one look, and they know, I'm like, who's coming around the corner any minute? I'm like, and that's how it should be, and I just don't like how it's, just a playtime for a lot of people, And it's hard to step in, if, not that Neves would ever do this, but, and then, we need an interventionist, and I step in for Neves, and that group is used to playtime, and they have been playing for 4.5 months, and I'm not about to change the, dare I go back to, culture of what has been established in that room for, how long. That's hard. It's hard to put that, so.
So being that we're going into the 3rd marking period and we've had time to reflect, like the 9th grade team, we've tried 2 things. We've done week rotations, we've done bi-weekly rotations. We're actually going to be moving into the weekly rotations again, just a 5-day cycle, because we want to maximize our time with the CRS skills. What we want you guys to do is to just look at our list right there, okay? I think we've given suggestions of things that we want to improve on. And just take maybe 2 minutes and just pick one and say how you're going to work towards achieving this goal in your intervention for this week. Because our kids are coming back to us from a break, we're coming back from a break, we've had time to just pretty much evaluate our practice and just how things were going. I know I've sat in meetings before where they've said behavior and the morale, you know, kids are just they're not buying into intervention. Grades, so to speak. Data trackers have been a really big thing in my class because even though it's not going in a grade book, when the kid is, you know, seeing, okay, I got a 70% on this, it's not really good. Okay, I need to get in the 90s, the 80s, you know, I need to receive, you know, I need to be exemplar, so to speak. That's where GradeCam has really worked well for me. So just take about 2 minutes and just maybe think to yourself, okay, how you're going to go into this week, and then maybe share that with someone sitting beside you.
I think for me,
So,
I'm gonna actually give the kids their data for each CRS. If I can pull like their name, pull all their stuff up, so they can see it. And then have them pick like the top 5, super top 5. So that when we go into intervention, they understand why. It's not, you think you're already doing this, you want the data stuff, and you got it right.
I'm going full on Marzano. Teach
Because I
fewer
think
things
a
better.
lot of them think they're somewhere the same. And so they make 2 rounds. If they see the data in front
Because
of them,
what good is it if I
this
teach
skill,
them
I get
31
12.
skills in 2 weeks and they master
I
none?
need to because that test becomes
All I've done is give them a little instruction to make them feel bad about their organization. Whereas if I lock some things down, if I choose the right ones, they can leverage those to help them with competencies.
What I found is a lot of them.
That'll improve test endurance because they'll be breezing through the ones they're good at.
What the practice is, a lot of kids have no idea what they make.
got another
That's
minute?
my motto, teach fewer things better.
And so having it in front of them so they know what it means, where they stand. When you look at your name, and most of the
Classroom instruction.
you're gonna realize.
One of the Marzano books, that's his vocabulary approach. So it boils down to all kinds of other things.
You say you're the.
That it might become.
He's
a
great.
tutorial
I know how to read.
with having-
There's a few of those words.
Because I had to do that with my legs, because they just were not.
I love this. SAT words, how to learn words is something that my daughter's class was divergent. And they had to talk about the different factions and what the words meant, and I had to.
Okay, guys,
what the
let's
words
come
mean.
back together.
They spent 2 weeks on.
2 volunteers will just express and share how they plan to improve their intervention for this week.
I don't even talk.
Go for it.
Teach fewer things better.
Okay. Anyone else? I'll jump up at once. Come on.
Go now. Let's
Go, Conley. Take the floor.
Well, personally, I need to get away from worksheets and doing the same, using the same kind of material every day. Just bury it up.
Okay. Bruce?
I've been feeling good about where we've been going in interventions for this year. The only thing I'm gonna change is, they come back from break, instead of giving them, I usually give them more than they can do within the time period of purpose. I'm probably gonna cut down the number of problems. You know, we'll come with the test, the rest of the week we spend focusing on that test and how to do better next time.
Are you all familiar with the iShine data portal? Do you know how to access your scholars' data and use that to drive intervention instruction? Yes?
Do you know how it can be
Do you want us to just go through it really quickly?
Please.
Yes. Do you know if it can be printed, like each individual kid's information, can they be printed for their use?
I'm sure there's a way, I'm just not.
I know there's a lot of stuff in there, I'm not always sure how to find the bit that I'm looking for.
iShine runs a bit slow. If you go to my data portal, and you click on instructional, I'm just gonna give you EPAS right here. So EPAS deep dive, And then there's all these different dashboards. There's question percent, analysis.
Yeah, these are the main three that I've used, but there's other.
Like if I wanna hand
This
them
is
your
done by
paper.
students.
Oh,
Say it
no,
again.
I was just thinking about that. I've never tried it.
Yeah, I've never tried either.
You can print
Can you
screen.
print?
Like a screenshot.
Well, could you use the student growth goal setting sheet, then you can print each one individually.
Does it have their scores on it?
Well, I was gonna say, when I tried to print it, it was blank. I wanted to give them something that says, okay, these are your areas that are red, these are your areas that are yellow, these are your areas that are green. So they have it in front of them as part of their data portfolio.
Mm-hmm. That's something we have to check into because I've never tried it.
So tell me what you want, and with the next assessment that's coming up next week, we can ask if that can be created.
So like
it's
with CA2, I wanna be able to hand John Doe his paper and to say, these are the skills from CA2, that you're red, yellow, and green.
So, okay, I don't know about that, but I was talking about the next EPAS assessment. So you just wanna know a skill breakdown by student?
Yeah.
You could hand like,
A
that one
student
student
copy.
a copy of theirs.
But, so the individual score reports, do they?
They don't have skills.
They
They
don't
don't
They
skills.
just have big
Categories.
categories.
Just have categories.
Yeah.
They
So
don't
it's just
have
like
The
math.
skill breakdown would be
Yeah.
interesting for them to see.
Yeah, I think that's what you want.
Yeah.
This seems like it's really fast, but so next week is the second EPAS. Do we get a third EPAS, or is that just it? Oh, there's 3 of them? This should be awesome.
On the back of the score report, there is every single question, whether they got it right or wrong. So you have to go through and individually say like, 2 was this.
Is there, because I have no idea, is there a comparison after they take the second one that we can compare the version of their second?
I'm sure they're gonna do some sort of growth analysis.
Oh, we get worksheets.
It's teacher friendly, like, okay, this is where, John Doe was A, B, and C time. But I don't have anything to give to the kid to say, hey, this is where you were, A,
I
B,
got
and
it.
C.
So I got it. There is an individual iShine dashboard that goes over, like, if you click the students, it's not on this one here. And it gives us everything the student does. I just don't know if it's skill specific on ePass. So,
There's one for your class that's students, each student specifically for TEKS that you have tracked in Power School that shows their growth based on that, but it's not on college readiness.
Oh, by the way, my session was on culture, hint,
Oh,
hint,
oh,
hint.
we got-
The scented markers, hint, 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 hint. I have no shame. There you go.
I tasted those, they were awful.
Thank you, that would be a 4. Thank you.
So yeah, if we can just complete this and
I will
then
come around and
this is
change
your
people's scores
exit
if I have
ticket.
to.
Well, it's not mine, so you're welcome.
It's so weird to have a evaluation that's not digital.
could be back at 1.
1 o'clock in the library.
Prompt.